there, welcome to whatever episode this is, and part 1 of the roof. I'm guessing it's going to take 2 parts, because there's a lot to go over. And right now I'm going to show you basically how to start the roof. Now, I will be showing you how to make a gable roof, and what a gable roof is where you look at the side of it, and it makes an A like this. See how there's an A here? Okay. And that's called a gable when the sides of the roof go straight up with the wall. A hip roof is when all sides of the wall lean inward. On a hip roof, only 2 sides lean in and the ends are vertical. But on a hip roof, they all lean inward. Now I'm going to be showing you how to make a gable where there's an A at the end. I'm not going to show you the other way, but if you know the basics of what I'm going to teach you, I'm sure you can figure it out. Alright, because there's really no true way to do it. Well, I don't do it a true way. I mean, you just kind of have to glue things together. Alright, and now you don't need to do this, but I really recommend it. I wanted a certain roof pitch on this, and I wanted a 7/12 roof pitch, which means every time we go over 7 inches, the roof is going to go up 12 inches. So it's going to be kind of a low roof. It's not going to be too high. But how do we know that? If I could get the cap off this, what we do is you get a piece of paper, like graphing paper, or if you want to use normal paper with a ruler, you can. But what we're going to do is draw, 7 inches up, or no, my bad, I'm sorry, it's actually 12 inches over and 7 inches up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do 12 blanks over and then 7 blanks up. Okay, so what I did is I want a 12 by 7 roof pitch. So I doubled 12, whatever the bottom number is, the run, and I doubled it and I just drew it all the way across. And then the midpoint, which should be 12, I put a mark, and then from that I counted up 7. Alright? And then I'm gonna get a ruler and draw a line from here to here to here, and it should make a triangle. And that's exactly what our roof is gonna look like. Alright, so I went ahead and did that, and that's what our roof is going to look like. It may not be that exact same size. That's actually a little bit bigger, but that's going to be... The main thing we're looking at is this angle. Okay, we're just trying to get an angle here. So that's what we're going to look at. Don't even worry about this bottom part. It doesn't matter. And so what we're going to do is that's our template, and the first parts of the roof that we're going to make are the 2 end parts. Okay, or if you only have 1, like on that house, you just do 1. But I'm going to have 2, and so we're going to make 2 of them. But don't worry about making 2 of them, just make the first one, and then we could copy the second one and make it identical. And so what you're going to do is put a stick here, make sure it's perfectly lined up with that line, and then put another stick. Now this stick is going to overlap it, so you're going to put this stick here. And since this one is above the other one, you might want to put just another stick underneath it so it sits flat. And just go ahead and put it there. And then make sure the ends line up nicely, and then you're just going to put glue there, and you're going to glue it. Also, I forgot to mention, this is a small roof. If you're going to be doing a bigger roof, then you're going to want to, and if the sticks need to be longer than 1 stick on each side, then make them double sticks like I taught you in other videos, where you glue them together and you get 1 long stick. Do that first and then make your roof template with that. Alright, so I made the 2 templates, okay, and so like I said, if your roof's bigger, then these pieces should be longer. And what I did is I just glued a piece down here, and then I put a piece here, and then I glued this one on top, because like I said, this one overlaps this one, it's on top of it, and so this keeps it nice and flat, so it's glued nicely. And then you'll notice, if you lift it up, you'll be able to move it, and you would distort it. So what I did is, I put a piece going across here, and that's going to get removed. That's not permanent, but we need that for now, so it doesn't get messed up. And I just made 2 of them, and they're identical. That's what's important. Now, it's okay if this part is round, same with the ends, but we're going to be cutting the ends. Alright, well that's a really low roof. Alright, now here's where the important part comes in. We need to get this to fit on here. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what... Now I need to explain something before we can go ahead and do this. On a real house, this is not how we're doing it, but on a real house, here's how they do this. This is the top of the wall. We're looking at it from the side just like this. So this is the top of the wall. Okay, top of the wall. And each whatever you want to call it, truss, joist, rafter, comes down and it continues. There's an overhang. It continues past the wall. And they make what's called a bird's mouth cut right here. It's a cut just like this. It's a square. And that rests nicely on the top of the wall. And then they also cut the end of it like this, and then they go ahead and put flashing here, and then they put a soffit here. And so that's how they make the roof. And then they go ahead and just put a thin sheet of plywood or OSB on top, and that's your roof. Now, here, how we're doing it is we're not going to do the overhang. We're just going to cut the piece like this. We're just going to cut an angle at it. Okay, and then it's going to sit on top of the wall, so it's not going to overhang at all. Alright, so that's what it should look like. Now, you might be wondering, well, how do we get the overhang then? Well, here's how we do it. This is the piece that we're putting on right now, and then later on we're going to be putting extra pieces here going perpendicular, and then there's going to be the actual sheeting that goes on top, and then by the time you put that on, you can let that extend over, and then we're going to put, this would be the flashing, and then you're going to put a soffit here, and so that'll give us a nice overhang. But if we were to do this, we have to put blocking here that goes parallel, and then by the time you put the next piece on, it's going to overhang way too much. And so just do this, okay? Make sure that this does not overhang, so it'll end right here. Now when I built that house, and I did that part right there, I actually made a video on how to do that, and it was so confusing I didn't upload it. And so this video is going to be the same thing, but I'm going to try my best to explain it as good as possible, although it is very confusing. Alright, let's put it this way. This needs to sit here, and like I just explained, there needs to be no overhang. Okay, where's my pencil? We need to make a cut that goes this way. When this is sitting on the wall, the cut needs to be as straight as the wall, so the cut needs to be level. So if we were to put a mark, the cut would be just like that. However, we can't just do that. There's a problem. You can have it like this, or you can have it like this. See how it moves back and forth? We need this point to be in the exact center of the roof on both sides. And so that means that each side of this truss needs to be the same length. And so this is a trial and error thing. We're going to cut it and see if it fits. If it's too big, we cut it again, see if it fits. Cut it again, see if it fits. But we also, while we're doing this, need to make sure that these pieces are the exact same length. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to get the ruler, and you're going to go to the very edge. Put it on the very edge of the stick, and put a mark, I would say every 1/4 of an inch. Alright, and then just go ahead and do that. And so now what we're going to do is put a number next to each one. It doesn't matter what the numbers are, it could be a letter, whatever. Just so we know that each one is the same. These cuts, or these lines should be in the same spot on either side. Alright, so I put numbers next to them. So one on this side is in the exact same spot as one on that side. And actually, I made a mistake here. On this side, the lines are on this side, the top side, and on this side they're on the bottom side. So I'm actually going to go ahead and fix it. Alright, so now the lines are go all the way across. They're on the both sides. And so basically what we're going to do is we're going to cut from one of these. We're going to pick the first one. And like I said, it needs to be level with the wall, so we're going to cut just like this. That line should be level. If we put it here, yeah, that's pretty much level. We're going to cut, the edge should be right on the 1 mark. Okay, so that's how we know that's the same on either side. So right on the 1 mark. And again, I'm going to make sure that's pretty much level with the wall, and it is. And so now we're going to go ahead and cut it. Okay, so now I did our very first cut, and we're going to see if it fits. Alright, and if you look, it's still too big. We don't want any overhang. So now what we're going to do is cut each side to the next cut, which is 2, and it's right here. So we're just going to start the cut right in the same spot. Again, we're doing this because each side needs to be the exact same length, so it's in the middle. Okay, so I cut that one. We're going to put it here, and it's a little smaller, but it still needs to be a little bit smaller, so I'm just going to cut it down to the next one. Okay, now that's perfect. Look at that. It doesn't overhang at all, and it's just how we want it. And so, if we take the ruler from the very point to the top of the roof, or to the top of the truss, should be the exact same for either side. So the lengths should be the same. And what we're going to do is put this piece over this one and copy it onto here. Make sure it's exactly the same. Make sure they are exactly the same. Alright, so now they're exactly the same. Now, we know that when we put this on the roof, the points go to the very edge. See how they each sit on the very edge? It doesn't overhang at all. So now we know exactly the angle. So we can take this piece off. And if it gets changed a little bit, that's fine, because we know how it should be. Okay, so now we have our 2 main roof trusses. And now, if you remember, like I said before, this piece overhangs this piece. You see how they're not the same? This one's on the left, this one's on the right. That can't happen. There needs to be one surface, one flat surface, on at least one side, on the side that sticks out. And so I'm just going to add a piece here that fills in this low spot, and then same thing on this one. Although, remember, like I said, this side could be just like that, but this is going to be the outside of the roof, so this part needs to be flat. I don't care about this side. Okay, so I went ahead and did that. As you can see, this is one solid surface here. See, one surface. On the back, like I said, I don't care, but on the side that's facing out, it's nice and flat. So what we're going to do is glue these 2 pieces into place. Alright, so I went ahead and did that. Now one thing you want to note is that this should be on the very edge perfectly. It can't be back a little bit or forward a little bit. Make it so it's perfectly on the edge. Look at that. So when we put the siding's actually going to go over this a little bit. It's going to be nice and flat there. And there's going to be a little bit of space back here. And then here. Now the next piece that we're going to do is what's called the ridge board, or the ridge beam. And it's a board that goes from the point on this to the point on this. And all the rafters, these are the only 2 trusses that we're going to make. Everything else is going to be single rafters. So sticks that go like this. There will be a bunch on this side and a bunch on this side. And they're all going to sit on the top of the wall, and they're going to touch the ridge board. So they're going to go from here to the ridge board. So that's our next support that we're going to do. The ridge board on this house goes from here back. From here back, and then there's a little one from here back, but it's always at the point of the house. And so in order to measure for where that goes, we are not going to just measure from here to here, because for all we know, actually I can tell this is leaning in. See how you could just move it back and forth, and this is leaning in, okay? And so if we were to measure that, it wouldn't be right. We need to measure from the top of the wall here to the top of the wall here. But take into account that there's a stick sticking out right here. So go from here to here. So whatever that, basically from this point here, right where that truss ends, to a little bit before this truss starts. Because there's space taken up here. Alright? So basically how I did this is I made a stick that was longer than it needs to be. So as you can see, that's longer. And I just glued sticks together just like that, back and forth pattern. Make sure it goes back and forth. Don't make it like a staircase. And then just like I said before, there can't be any low spots. It needs to all be on the same level. And so we're going to fill in a piece here, fill in a piece here, fill in a piece here, and so it's going to be 2 sticks thick, and it should all be on the same surface. Alright, so I went ahead and I made that, and as you can see it's 2 sticks wide and it's all on the same surface. So there's no indentations or anything, it's nice and perfectly flat. If we look down the side, it's nice and straight. If we look down the side this way, it's nice and straight. That's what we want. You don't want to have any curves. And so now we're going to glue it into place, and you may notice it doesn't fit. That's because, like I said, these are leaning in. So you're going to kind of push these out of the way and make it fit. And then you're going to glue it, but glue it in the same spot on each side. Make it so you might want to have it go a little tiny bit above that, or keep it on the same level as that stick, and then glue it the exact same way on the other side. So we don't want the roof to be like this, or like one side to be a little bit higher. Make sure it's in the same spot on either side. And so go ahead and do that. Okay, so I did that, and it actually looks pretty neat. It's just kind of the frame of the roof, and it's exactly the same there. It's glued nice and strong. Of course it isn't perfect here, but we need to add supports to it. And so what we're going to do now is make sure that these are level, not level, but vertical, standing straight up. And so if I look down the side, they are. Okay, so because the whole roof can lean, either way, and we need to make sure it's how it needs to be, so each side is perfectly straight up. And you can use a level for that if you'd like, but I'm just going to eyeball it. Now what we're going to do is fill in this with studs, just like these studs, but they're going to start at the wall and go up. Alright, and it should be at the same surface as the truss, so it should be just like that. Not like sticking out or anything, but like right there. Alright, so just go ahead and do that on either side. Alright, so I did that. See that? It's nice and perfectly lined up there. It's a little bit weird on the back, but it looks nice on the front for the siding. And I also did that here, but I also put the siding, and the siding is kind of weird on the inside here, but you just want to make sure it doesn't go past the truss there, and it could look a little bit sloppy on the end. You won't be able to see that, but that's pretty much what the siding looks like. Alright, and so tomorrow we'll work on this more. So that's pretty strong. You just want to make sure it's glued nice and tight and everything, so